Hello and welcome to my media museum. Today we're starting a new series. It's actually wrapping up box 11, which we did previously. These are ones I pulled out of box 11 that were mostly dance music. Those might be the random oddball country and western or something in there because I don't know a lot of these bands. I don't know a lot of these songs, and I haven't put a tremendous amount of research into this. Um, but I've got a good stack of maybe 100, 150 45s here to look through in this next series of videos. And like I said, it's going to be a lot of 80s. Now, there'll be some 70s, might even be a tad of disco in there. But for the most part, it's 80s dance music. And we're starting off here with George Benson, The Greatest Love of All. Hit number 24 in September 1977. So there's an example. It's 70s, but it's really, darn close to the 80s. And the B side of this one was Michael Mason doing Allie's theme. So we've got two artists on this one. Not sure why. It doesn't say anything about it being a Golden Series or from a movie or anything. So don't really know why we've got two different artists on that one. But we do. And the next one up is Third Rate Romance by the Amazing Rhythm Aces. Now this one hit number 14 and looks like September, but it could be July of 75, whoever's notations those were. A little bit difficult to read. Could it be either one? And the B-side to this one is still the Amazing Rhythm Aces with Mystery Train, which I've known that title to be a song by a couple of different bands, but I don't think it was this exact same song, so I'm not going to reference those. Next up, we are hitting darn close to the 80s with this one. Hit number 20 in August 1979, GQ with I Do Love You. And what was on the B side of that one? Make My Dreams a Reality. All right. Very cool. And moving on, we've got a sleeve that doesn't match the vinyl here. Another Woman. I don't know who did that or what the B-side song's listed as, but it was $2.99 somewhere. And on Arista, which the vinyl doesn't even match that. We've got Marvin Gaye's #1 hit, You Got to Give It Up, Part 1. And you'll notice this is a yesteryear series, so this is a reissue, not the, sorry about that, not the original vinyl as it came out when it was first released. But this one's clearly marked side 1 for us. That's nice. I really appreciate it when they give us an A, a B, or side 1 or 2. Usually it's A's and B's on 45s, side 1s and 2s on albums. But you can see that in March of 77, yeah, it came out in 77, so it's got to be a 7. The guys' 7s and 9s were a little bit difficult to decipher at times. And I did meet the guy. That I've told this story before in the Box 11 series, but we already had 23 videos in that series. Plus, there was a couple country and western ones that came out of that same box. He listed them on Craigslist. I went down and bought them off of him. He had about 350 45s in this box. It was like one of those banana boxes you see at Costco. And he told me he had digitized all of them and he didn't need them anymore, which doesn't make any sense to me, but it clearly did to him. And he had went around to all the record shops. They had bought what they were willing to purchase off of him from the box, and these were his leftovers. So I got them for nothing. I paid 40 or 50 bucks for the whole box of them to take them off his hands. So I scored these really reasonably cheap. B-side of this Marvin Gaye is Got to Give It Up Part 2, of course. B-side or side 2, however you want to look at it, that. 45s, I call them B-sides. And I've noticed the YouTube algorithm that writes up the transcripts for these videos has a real hard time with B-side. Beside, it just doesn't pick it up. But if you're reading these and you see BISD or some weird something, it's B-side, of course. All right, so Wild Cherry, Baby Don't You Know. And now another way that I've recently been pointed out to me by a couple of individuals, so I had one tell me and one confirm it. You can tell A-sides from B-sides sometimes by intro timings. If they give you an intro of 07 seconds and a runtime at 3:15, of course that was for the DJ's use, so they could cue it up. And when you flip it over to the other side, you'll notice there isn't an intro timing on this one. It just says 3:01. So, Wild Cherry's Get It Up was the B-side on this release, and Baby Don't You Know was the A. So that's another clue for us all to try and figure out A-sides from B-sides without logging on to some site and looking it up. If you've got an intro timing on one side and not on the other, that's your A-side right there. So really, really helpful bit of info there in my opinion. And I definitely wanted to pass that along. Next up, we've got Ray Goodman and Brown with Special Lady, hit number 5 in February of 1980. All right, well, at least my 80s dance music themed video here's got an 80s song in it finally. But there will be plenty. Like I said, the bulk of this stack is 80s. Next up, we've got Deja Vu on the B-side here. So, Ray Goodman and Brown. Interesting. The next one, we've got Felix Cavalier. Yeah, okay. I have a hard time pronouncing some names anyways, and once in a great while my speech impediment still rears its ugly head and gives me a hard time. But yeah, Cavalier. Only a Lonely Heart Sees. Supposedly hit that. That one hit number 36 in March of 1980. And the B-side of that one is a song called You Turned Me Around. Do. You'll notice I'm not singing many of these like I have been tempted to do so in the past, because a lot of these I don't even know. Here's another one. I Want to Get Next to You. Yeah, I know a Triumph song that sounds something like Next to You. But Rolls Royce, music composed and produced by Norman Whitfield. Here again, we're late 70s. But it's from the soundtrack Car Wash. So if you've seen the movie Car Wash, this song might be familiar to you. I seen that movie years ago. I have it on DVD and probably definitely due a viewing, but I've got a lot of movies on the shelves that are past due viewings for me. Hit number 10 in March of 77. And on the B-side of that one was a song called Sunrise, which again is noted as being from that Car Wash soundtrack. So yeah, pretty much anything with Richard Pryor I was willing to give a chance. I really, really loved Richard Pryor. The man was hilarious, and it's a shame that he's no longer with us. But he left us with quite a legacy of film, especially the ones he did with Gene Wilder. I really liked their pairing up. Their films were just awesome. And next up, we've got Frederick Knight. I've Been Lonely for So Long. Hit number 27 in May of 72. So I sure have got a lot of 70s in here for it being an 80s themed, but we'll get deeper in the stack. It'll get more 80s, I assure you. So the B-side of this is a song called Lean on Me. So again, it says it's from 1972. So this might be an original, quite possibly not a reissue. There's so many different versions of so many of these 45s that you can get a hold of that it's really hard sometimes to tell if you've got an original print, a reissue, second runs, third runs. Those are even harder sometimes to figure out. And like I've explained numerous times in previous videos, sometimes just because it looks different, it could still be from the same run but off a different machine. But yeah, I'm no expert. I'm really not. I've learned a lot more about this since I've been doing these videos. I was a casual collector of these for many years, obviously. But it's not my main area of collecting focus, so I'm not what I would consider an expert on the 45 vinyls. So you got to cut me a little slack there. I know a little about a lot and a lot about very little. This is a case where I know somewhere in between the two. But we've got Jimmy Hall here doing I'm Happy That Love Has Found You. And that hit number 27 in November of 1980. And the B-side here is another song that apparently hit number 27, but we don't have any dates on that. And Touch You, again by Jimmy Hall at least. So far only that first one in this video has had two different artists on it. So next up we've got Heat Wave, which might be disco. I tend to remember them being kind of disco themed. Happiness, Togetherness. And we don't have any notations on this one as any chart positions or nothing. So that may have been the B-side. I may have gotten these ones flipped around. Here we've got the Groove Line with an intro. So yes, indeed, hit number 7 in June of 78. The Groove Line. That definitely sounds disco. So we probably wrapped this one up with a little bit of disco. So hope you enjoyed that. Hope you come back for the rest of the installments in this 80s dance music series that I intend to do and get up on the channel in the very near future. Have a wonderful day.